going forward to brief the people well. You need somebody to brief you about your name. Chair, we are talking on behalf of the people. I will not speak on behalf of people who do not give their correct names. Chair, they give their correct. When they are gathering information, they ask them so many questions. There are those names they use. They always give those names, and by which they are known by. Then there are these other past names and other. No. When leader is gathering information, they don't get this for now. They are burdened now with the challenge of a costly change of names. I am now guiding that you no longer be hard on this matter. Chair, you are betraying the people. The people, leader must devise means of improving on this communication. The people have betrayed themselves by submitting wrong names. Nobody will guide you that this is not your name. The only thing I have heard, and which I believe, is where somebody tells you, and she has answered it, where somebody tells you those names are too many.
Why is there an expiry date? The first expiry date is set in law in section 89, section 69 of our Act. But also, it is further, anchored by science. A card is a plastic material with embedded security features, who by reason of time, the features deteriorate. Notwithstanding, I will join that question with a rationale. The mass enrollment and renewal exercise seeks to register more new Ugandans than renew cards. You have 17.2 million new Ugandans to register.
They are not new Ugandans.
Okay, new registrations to carry out.
17.2
million compared to the 15.8 million renewals. On the question of voters, I think the voting entity is the Electoral Commission. They've systematically come, 20th January, they began the process of updating the register, the searching of the register, and at no time did they hinge that to a national ID. They looked for eligible voters, they gave them criteria, and there was nobody who was disenfranchised.
Yes. Was there any consultations between NERA and the EC?
Correct. There are always consultations between NERA and EC.
To what effect? And what is your contribution to the generation of the register?
The law defines a person who can vote as being a citizen above the age of 18. The register in NERA is used to verify, 1, who is a citizen, and 2, who is above the age of 18. So, on a continuous basis, we interact on who is a citizen, who is above the age of 18, and who may have changed their names.
Enacting the Registration of Persons Act, I remember there was a huge debate on the role of your register, which is the National Register. And one of the things that was that actually the Electoral Commission, like many other agencies, would use your register as the raw material.
It does use it as a raw material. However, there are aspects of that register that are required to be obtained in real time by the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
So, we are the starting point.
Yes.
They obtain the register of citizens above the age of 18. And what they told us about the residents and their polling stations. However, they are required by law to update this information continuously to the benefit of citizens.
Actually, not to update that information. They only update their register.
Yes.
That upon getting the raw material from you, they constitute it into a register. Then the updating begins from there.
They update the particulars that change about a person. For example, they may have shifted and they need to update some.
Right.
With regard to distribution, we have shipped out cards and the distribution has started. With regard to
The distribution, that's a bullet statement. The members need to know.
okay, we have shipped out cards to 146 districts,
Okay.
the ones that we have so far printed. Of course, Kampala has higher numbers than any other district, but every district has received a certain number of cards for distribution.
Honorable Muwadda, since you did the renewal from Kasangati,
From Kasangati County Council headquarters.
you pick yours from Kasangati.
I was there. There was no ID. I don't know if the ID is updated. That they are not there. Where are they?
Okay, Madam Chisembo, why has the member not received his?
Tomorrow, I will provide to this committee the information from couriers who we have used to distribute these cards countrywide for avoidance of doubt.
Chair, wouldn't it be fitting that the executive director also talks about decentralization of inquiries? Just why do I move from Cosase to Kololo? Doing why? What is her strategy?
Sir, we are present to date. We have been present in at least 7,239 parishes in the last 12 weeks. It is not correct to say that people come for inquiries to Kololo. Even the buses in this country, we've registered 8 million people. We have not recorded 8 million people in Kampala for renewal.
Answered about inquiries.
So it is not correct to say that all people come to Kampala for renewal.
No, for inquiries.
Chair, maybe we should not simplify our concern with the word inquiries. My colleague had said people move from Ulambuli to come to Kololo. It is equivalent to coming from Songora South to Kololo.
And I would like an
Madam,
example.
we are saying, if I need to collect or anything, I have fulfilled everything. Why can't I get my card from my district?
Sir, you will get it in your district. I said tomorrow I will bring Nation Courier and DHL that have taken cards to the districts.
Yes.
So the cards have been taken to the districts. They are not going to be picked from Kololo.
Chair, the situation is even more worrying because so far out of the 43 million Ugandans, maybe say 20, only 6 have received their national ID. What if the rest are not interested in this renewal? And it's really a serious matter. It has constitutional implications. You don't just own an ID for your...
For those that are not interested,
No, but here,
what do you want them to
the
do?
national ID is not an issue of interest. It's not. When you look
Honorable
at
Swami,
should-
that's a good question. That's a good issue you're
that's
raising.
what I'm... Yes, sorry.
But the question is, did you make it compulsory under the law? And what are the sanctions for not obtaining or for being disinterested?
Maybe that's why you want to get from this...
For her, she deals with people who go to her and apply.
But here,
She rolls out a program, communicates it to the people. And that's what the law requires her to do. I think there are two
there was a
things.
very big oversight,
Both of
which
us,
we
both have a role to play. We as parliament
exactly.
and we as citizens.
No, citizens, here we are always there. First of all, for them, they do appreciate they have to be identified. That's not an issue. Tobarabara, you don't have to count my kids, etc. That feeling. Now that we know it's a vital tool we need for development, and we did not envisage that when we were making the law. We want to get something from the technical officers which we can send in our report, because only 6 million maybe are interested.
The blame that would go to these people, even during the enrollment exercise that I've seen, is 1, inadequate material. 2, if we are talking about inadequate training for people who use these machines and the time provided. But I understand that registration across the country is a continuing business. At the sub-counties, they cannot make it continuous at the parish level. Because unless we are ready to give them that money, if you have the money, I am concerned about those who travel from Bulambuli or Ssegona to come to Kampala. But from what she says, I think it is also a question of how our people appreciate these things. No, there are those who go there and maybe at the parish or sub-county, the officers there are clueless. They give you all manner of excuses. I remember sending some people to go and obtain a death certificate. When they arrived at a particular station, they told them, bring an original national ID of the deceased. I mean, there could be some of those isolated cases. And I called her, I said, so why don't you instead, you're the one who issued the national ID, so you have all the particulars. Why don't you call the deceased? I said it comically and told her, why don't you call the deceased to tell you where he left the national ID? But for somebody who has come with a short death certificate from hospital, you tell me bring the original national ID of the deceased. Now those are isolated cases. That's why I did not bring them here. So Ugandans, when called upon to go and register it, that's number 1. Number 2, from your end, make sure your machines are there, make sure the people are trained, make sure the people know. And at every station, there must be somebody who takes a decision or supervises others. I think that's where the only way I would allow a fault on them. But that some Ugandans are not interested. Bulambuli.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I wanted to ask the accounting officer. I have a case here whereby this person applied for the national ID on 23rd April from Bulambuli, 23rd April 2025. The student was admitted on government sponsorship, and one of the requirements was to provide a national ID because he's 21 years. He had applied at school, did not get it. For this case, he applied now from Bulambuli and he was enrolled. They sent him to Kololo so that he would be helped to process his passport. The application ID was given to him. I can read it for you. Since this committee is evidence-based, I don't want you to... The application ID is 124 435 000 8F04. In the names of Nangoli Apollo. Nangoli Apollo. Chair, when you go to Bulambuli, Nangoli is the common name because these are successful people in the community. So it's very common name.
Please allow me to pick the last digit.
The last
000
8F04. That's the application. To date, we are now in August. The boy has not what? He reported to Makere last week, and they insisted they want the original ID because it's on government sponsorship. Could you give more light on that?
I'll ask my team to send for details of that application ID. We shall resort to it as soon as I get information on it.